This Tuesday will be our national elections for president and other offices, but for many, particularly in agriculture, the political decisions in the rest of 2012 are just as important. Joining us now for this week's Bottom Line is Neil Melanson. And Neil, I know we've been talking a lot about the Farm Bill, but we've also got to talk about the fiscal cliff. What could that mean for agriculture?
Well, simply, Avery, it's going to hurt farming, not the least of which is the expiration on the estate tax exemptions, which is possibly the only legislation we've been talking about longer than the Farm Bill. As you might remember, the estate tax was phased out gradually, but this phasing out had a time limit unless Congress acted. Well, we're at the stage now with it, and it will come back full force to its pre-2001 levels beginning on January 1st. What this means is it would go from a $5 million tax exemption to a $1 million exemption, and the top tax rate for it would rise from 35% to 55%. Now, while that might sound like a problem for millionaires, for farmers and ranchers, it's a different situation. Farms are notoriously land rich and cash poor. The average farm has 86% of its wealth tied up in assets that aren't easily able to be turned into cash, especially when it comes to rural land. It's become something of a morbid joke to die before the end of the year so you can pass your family farm on intact, which is becoming increasingly true as Congress has failed to act. What's more, there's also expirations and capital gains tax exemptions, which also hits farmers and ranchers as well, again with the same problem. It's one thing to tax the gains that are made on hot real estate property you're going to flip, but it's another when it's a combine or a tractor that has a tough time being sold and resold even in good years. The bottom line here should be that Congress needs to act before we reach this fiscal cliff. But I think it's something more than that. Congress and consumers alike need to understand this issue, particularly the estate tax exemption for agriculture is more than a fiscal issue. It's an issue about culture, about passing on the tradition of farming to children who were raised in it, in a world with an increasing world population and a decreasing body of folks who want to farm in it. Preserving the family farm through these breaks is not giving the rich a hand up, it's giving the folks who feed us a handshake for a job well done, Avery, so we can all have a future.
And with the average age of a farmer reaching above 57 and people our age not getting into agriculture as much, it's really important that we preserve these family farms. Thank you very much, Neil Melanson. And remember, you can listen to Neil's daily radio reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau Agri-News Radio Network for a list of stations where you can tune in, or if you want to listen online, you can click over to our website, twilatv.org, and click on the LF Barn link. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Remember, you can watch all of our stories online. twilatv.org is the place to go. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.